So now we've made it to the third part where we're going to look at these boundaries that you set and now see what happens. Because you've set boundaries, you've started to enforce these boundaries, and they're going to be tested and not necessarily respected by you and not necessarily respected by everybody else. Things aren't going to always go exactly as planned. And I want you to be psychologically prepared for this. This isn't terrible. This is a experiment. This is something to play with. This isn't something that you're going to set it and forget it, okay? This is something that is not going to be done. And I probably have said this a gazillion times already, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's really important to remember to set expectations throughout this so you're not disappointed and frustrated. This is a little experiment, and this comes from my background in sciences, so it's easy for me to characterize it that way. We're testing this, and I don't mean testing as a grade, I mean testing as a science experiment. We're going to have a hypothesis of here's what we think your boundary is, here's how we think it's going to work to establish this boundary, communicate it to you, communicate it to them, and communicate what the ramifications are going to be if it doesn't work, and see if that works for everyone. And the thing is, sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't. So here on day 7, we're going to actually track your boundaries. So what I want you to do is to start evaluating your boundaries, really using some metrics, which metrics sounds really scary and fancy for those of you who aren't real analytical kind of numbers people. But I don't necessarily mean numbersy, spreadsheet-y kind of things, unless you're, into numbers and spreadsheets, okay? I'm talking about just keeping track of your boundaries and what are the results of tracking these boundaries. So we're going to look at picking a couple boundaries that you set up, 1, 2, 3 boundaries that are really important to you, that are going to make a big difference in your life. And tracking 1, 2, 3 pieces of information that would make a difference, that would be good metrics to track. So what would be good metrics to track? I would suggest you track at least one piece of information that's totally objective. So for example, for me, one piece of information that's really an objective measure to track is how many hours of sleep did I get last night? This is an objective number. Did I get 3 hours of sleep? Did I get 5 hours of sleep? Did I get 9 hours of sleep? Well, that never happens. So did I get 7 hours of sleep? That would be like a crazy lot amount of sleep. And that, how many hours of sleep I got is going to tell you so much information. There's also some quality of sleep, other data that goes with that. Did it all happen in a row? Did I wake up a gazillion times? That kind of thing. But just the plain old number is going to give you a lot of data. How many hours did I work? Or how many hours did I bill the clients? You could have how many hours did you coach clients last week? How many paintings did you paint this week? You could have how much money did you earn last week? It can be a great number to track, right? So things that are numbers, hours, things that are pieces of, I'm looking at my kind of list of brainstormed things, time, money, deliverables, how many things did you make, how many people did you help, kind of stuff. You could also look at subjective pieces of information. So for me, I track things like, how did I feel last week? Both, how did I feel like emotionally, like what are my thoughts about last week? Did I feel resentful about my clients last week? Did I feel resentful about my loved ones last week? What did I feel joyful about last week? What did I feel frustrated about last week? I always felt frustrated about something, okay? I always felt joyful about something, right? I track those things. Now, I actually put all this stuff in a spreadsheet, which some of you, that may not work. Some of you may be really resistant to a spreadsheet. And in that case, you may, and I'm looking at some artsy kind of things that are over here. Instead of a spreadsheet, you may want to get, a nice art book to track things in. This doesn't have to be spreadsheet looking, and you can have each day can be a nice page in your art book where you track. Or you can be like me and put it all on a spreadsheet, okay? So these things don't have to be, spreadsheet looking, okay? Even though you're tracking data, even if the data happens to be numbers, they can be very artsy looking. Or if you're someone who loves numbers, you can make it as data-ish as you want. However, I still do recommend tracking how you feel and how you think about things, because those are incredibly important pieces of data. Now, if you are someone who has a tendency to have too much, and we all can all do that, I do recommend reining it in. Don't track too many pieces of data. It is very easy to do that. You might want to track 3 pieces at max of objective number data, 3 pieces at max of subjective data. Start with that, track that for, once a week for a month, or, something like that. See what that gets you, and then reevaluate and start tracking some more information. Simple is going to get you much better information than complex. So start working on that, and then tomorrow we're going to talk more about you.